In his most recent keynote Freedom Day address, the South African president and leader of the ANC singled out Bloemfontein as the place where the ANC's so-called freedom flame was lit, and as the birthplace of their so-called revolution. And the special place Bloemfontein occupies in the ANC's revolutionary consciousness is evident in how they have transformed the city. Today, for example, apart from maybe a few cities in the former Soviet Union or North Korea or China, it is hard to even imagine any medium-sized provincial capital city in the entire world that has been more thoroughly rebranded as a communist hub than the City of Roses in the Free State. While all of the country's major cities have undergone hundreds of name changes over the past few decades, when it comes to visibility, Bloemfontein is probably South Africa's most thoroughly ideologically rebranded city. Everything from its civic centres to its airport, municipal headquarters, provincial government towers and most important arterial roads are now collectively commemorating communists from all over the world, socialist rulers and leaders of the ANC South African Communist Party alliance. But stay tuned, because in today's video we are going to expose the most shocking part. Not only has the city been completely transformed into one big monument of communism, but even more communist-inspired name changes are being planned for this capital or former capital of a rural Christian Boer republic. And all the while this city is made into a monument for communism in terms of the names of everything, it is also being made into a monument for communism when it comes to how the city actually looks and functions, or lack of functioning. You see, the name changes have perhaps been one of the most characteristic elements of the last 3 decades under ANC rule. Perhaps one of the only things this otherwise completely incompetent group that is now in government has actually succeeded in doing. Of course, in the past there have been proposals to change the name of even the country of South Africa to Azania, but at least that seems to be off the table for now. Nonetheless, especially in the north of the country, the ANC has managed to change virtually every single name of almost every town that once meant something to the descendants of the Voortrekkers who had founded and built these settlements in the first place. Pietersburg became Polokwane, Nelspruit became Bombela, Witbank became eMalahleni, and so the endless list continues. But while there has been tremendous resistance to name changes north of the Vaal River, as the famous court cases with regards to Pretoria street names confirm, the same can unfortunately not be said about Bloemfontein, which has historically served as the country's judicial capital city, one of the country's 3 capitals since the establishment of the Union of South Africa in 1910. Before that, the City of Roses used to be the capital city of the Orange Free State Republic, and it was an important political, cultural and educational hub, housing top educational institutions such as the University of the Free State and Grey College, as well as cultural landmarks such as the National Women's Monument and the Anglo-Boer War Museum. It is closely associated with prominent statesmen such as President M.T. Steyn and General Barry Hertzog, while the legendary author of the Lord of the Rings series, J.R.R. Tolkien, was also born in Bloemfontein in 1892. Bloemfontein, however, was also the place where the ANC was originally founded in 1912, and for this reason the party still often holds its annual celebrations there. In Cyril Ramaphosa's recent Freedom Day address on 27 April of this year, he made the following statement, and I quote, "It is an honor to mark this occasion here in Bloemfontein, where the flame of freedom was lit. It was here in Mangaung that the African National Congress was born in 1912, bringing together the first time people from across our country to stand against oppression and dispossession. And because of this emphatic historical tie to Bloemfontein, the ANC has been on a mission for the past 3 decades to actively rebrand the city in honor of their Marxist idols. And while larger cities such as Durban and Johannesburg may have more revolutionary street names, nowhere else in South Africa does a city appear to have placed so many of its principal gateways and centers of government under Communist or Congress alliance names. And think about this for a moment. If you were to enter Pretoria via the N1 North, the off-ramps you will find include Riegel Avenue, Garsfontein Road, Atterbury Road, and Stormville Road. If you were to enter Bloemfontein via the N1 South, the off-ramps are as follows. First, Raymond Mahlaba Street, which used to be named after Andries Pretorius, the great Voortrekker military leader of the Battle of Blood River. Raymond Mahlaba was the former national chairperson of the South African Communist Party. Then second, Kenneth Kaunda Road, which used to be Euphues Road, named after the 1938 centenary of the Great Trek. Kenneth Kaunda was the Soviet-backed Zambian dictator who formally turned his country into a one-party state, of course. Third, we've got Nelson Mandela Drive, which used to be Voortrekker Drive, commemorating the ancestors of the Boers who actually founded the city. Now it is named after a man whose Marxist credentials has been well documented both on this channel and elsewhere. And fourth, Walter Sisulu Road, which used to be Holden Road. Walter Sisulu was a long-time senior member of the South African Communist Party's Central Committee, who was also instrumental in establishing Umkhonto we Sizwe in 1961. But in Bloemfontein, it doesn't end with the prominent street names named to African communists at all of the city's major intersections. Virtually every major building and every major landmark in the city has been renamed to commemorate some or another communist hero from all over the world. For example, the 26-story provincial administrative tower, previously called the President C.R. Swart Building, was officially renamed the Fidel Castro Building in 2015, of course to honor the former communist dictator of Cuba. Its airport's name was changed from Bloemfontein International Airport to Bram Fischer International Airport in 2012, in honor of the former Jewish deputy chairman of the South African Communist Party, and a man whom the communist government of the Soviet Union once honored with the so-called Lenin Peace Prize. But not only its airport, but also the municipal headquarters located in the heart of Bloemfontein, the iconic building formerly known as the Glaspaleis or Glass Palace, has also been named as the Bram Fischer Building. Even the headquarters of the Free State Premier in Bloemfontein, formerly known as the H.F. Verwoerd Building, saw its name changed to the Oliver Tambo Building in honor of the former ANC leader who had travelled to Moscow in the 1960s along with South African Communist Party leader Moses Kotane to obtain Soviet money, weapons and military training, and whom the Soviet government also honored with the Soviet Order of Friendship of the Peoples. The statue of Hendrik Verwoerd was also removed in the 90s, and in 2017, the then Free State Premier Ace Magashule unveiled a new Oliver Tambo statue on this exact same spot. Around the same time, the statue of M.T. Steyn, the former president of the Orange Free State, the man who literally founded the city, was also removed from the Free State University campus. Now this list can basically go on forever. I haven't even spoken about the Fidel Castro statue or the Nelson Mandela statue on Naval Hill. But the point I'm conveying here is that every major landmark, every official building and every prominent street in the city has been renamed over the past decades to some communist from somewhere over in the world. Nowhere are communist names and figures more prominent and visible than in this city in the heart of the Free State today. The former Transvaal capital of Pretoria, you may still find the Euphues Street, a General Beyer Street, a Joopie Fourie statue. But in the former capital of the former Orange Free State Republic, there is nothing of the history that built this city and this country left. But it doesn't stop here. In recent years, the local government has also threatened to rename the Universitas Academic Hospital, located right next to the medical faculty of the Free State University campus, as the Albertina Sisulu Hospital. And so, this rebranding of Bloemfontein as the communist city of Mangaung just goes on and on and on forever. But enough with that. With the communist rebranding of the city came the absolute decay. 30 years ago, Bloemfontein still felt like a proper city. The streets were mostly intact. The water came out of the taps when you turned them on. And the CBD still had a little bit of life in it. All of these things people watching from overseas may think is the bare minimum. But today, large parts of it looks and feels completely abandoned. There are potholes the size of small cars. There is raw sewage running down the streets. There are dry taps for days to weeks to months at a time. And a general sense that nobody in charge actually cares anything about this monument to communism that the ANC has created. This didn't happen overnight. It happened systematically through years of neglect, bad decisions, corruption, and a municipality that had simply stopped doing its job altogether. Mangaung, the metro that includes Bloemfontein, has been in serious trouble for a very long time now. In late 2019, the province had to be forced to put it under administration. In 2022, the national government had to be forced to step in as well. All of this was supposed to fix things. Well, it hasn't. The city is still drowning in debt, still missing its service targets, and still getting hammered in the Auditor General reports for irregular spending that runs into the hundreds of millions of rands. Maintenance buildings are an absolute joke. Year after year, the same problems get flagged, and nothing ever changes for the city. Water is the most obvious failure. Residents go days without it often. When it does come, the pressure is often so low that it barely is usable or coming out of the taps, or the quality is so poor that nobody in their right minds would want to drink it, otherwise die of some horrible sickness. Pipes leak constantly in the city. The municipality loses huge amounts of water every year, and somehow never seems to get on top of the problem. Roads are in a similar state, broken, patched badly, or simply left to fall apart. Refuse collection is hit and miss. Street lights stay dark for weeks. These are not temporarily problems that come up in the city from time to time. It is something that the residents has to deal with on a daily basis throughout the year, 365 days. It has become the normal way of life for a lot of people living in the city. A lot of this traces back to how the place has been run. There was faction wars inside the ANC between the Magashule group and the Ramaphosa group. There was cadre deployment and a culture where political loyalty mattered so much more than any semblance of competence, which have taken an absolutely heavy toll on this city. When your priority is keeping the right people in the right places, giving the right people the right amount of money all the time out of the state or the municipal coffers, rather than fixing the pipes or balancing the books, this is what you get. The monument to communism in South Africa, the city of Bloemfontein. The metro has been called one of the worst run in the country for a very good reason. None of this is unique to Bloemfontein. Plenty of South African cities are struggling, but the absolute scale and the stubbornness of the problems here stand out towards the rest of the country. Interventions from the state or the municipality come and go. Reports get written over and over. Promises are made, but the city keeps sliding into absolute decay. After 30 years of this trajectory, it is very hard to look at Bloemfontein and not feel that something fundamental broke along the way. at the same time as all of the communist name changes in the city. And because this transformation is gradual rather than sudden, people have a tendency to just accept it, as they did here in Bloemfontein. But not us here at the Willem Petzer Group. We continue to fight against every aspect of this destructive revolution aimed at destroying our identity as a people or a nation, our heritage and our culture. This is why we keep doing what we are doing. Producing content such as this every single day is but part of it. And you can strengthen us in this important fight for our people by becoming a member of the Willem Petzer Group. Simply follow these easy steps on the banner below. In the meantime, we must document the destruction of the ANC government, and we are going to expose their real agenda for the world to see. We did exactly this in a recent video wherein we highlighted the fact that the ANC's incompetence and corruption has not only cost this country trillions of dollars, it has also done trillions of dollars in damage to the global economy. You can check out that full analysis by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right here. And do remember to sign up as a member. It is only through our members that we are able to continue doing research of this level. Thanks for watching until the end. We really appreciate the gift that you give us of your time. Goodbye and God bless.